Welcome to Pattern and Craft. I'm Courtney, and today I wanted to try something a little different. So I'm trying out actually a new technique for me. So usually I make sure something works and then I do a tutorial on it and show you how. But I wanted to learn together. So I saw something really interesting on a tutorial on Bracelet book, and it was basically how to do an alpha, but without having, how do I put this? You basically use only your string that you're tying with, and then your bass strings, and you switch out the colors between those two, so you're not just using the bass strings to knot onto, but also to knot with, and you never really have any floating strings on the back of your bracelet. So I thought I'd try that out. I actually already tried once, and it was like an epic fail because I realized that you can't have these strings. Well, I'll show you what I mean, but anyway, you basically have to have this color that you're tying onto your strings with as your on your edges. So you don't want to, like, I don't know. Let's just start and I'll show you what I mean. So I've got my strings taped down. I have extra left over for my ties, and I'm going to start at the top of the bracelet, and I'm actually going to bring this over one because I want to do backward forward knots at the edges to kind of have a straighter edge. So the very first row, I'm just going to do all my tying thread color. I don't know what that's called, tying thread color. I've heard it called leading string. Is that what it's called? Anyway, so I start with a backward forward knot, and then I'm going to do forward knots all the way across just to get my first row, which is just the background color. So let's do that. Oh, by the way, this is some Threadworks string or embroidery floss. It's an over-dyed embroidery floss. And it seems like maybe they use the same quality floss as DMC, which might be why it's so expensive. It was like $2 and something for like 5 yards, which seems a lot because I think regular embroidery floss that I get, that's about, what, 58 to like something like that, like 60 cents-ish for like 8 yards or something like that. So it's kind of expensive, but it's so pretty. It's like this ombre rainbow color. I already kind of took it out of its pretty skein that it was like all, but you know, you can see it's this beautiful ombre pastel rainbow. I actually got a few different colors, but that's the color I'm using for this bracelet. I thought that would contrast nicely with the black because, like, you know, a pale kind of color contrasted with black. It's a nice variation. They show up well next to each other. Like a darker rainbow is pretty too, but I would do that with white, you know. All right, so I'm going to do a forward backward knot on this side just so that my edges look a little cleaner. You can just do forward knots and backward knots at your edges, but then you get like the little bumps. All right, so here is where we're gonna, well, I guess we're gonna have to get all the way to the center to start my pattern, so don't get too excited yet. But we're gonna do the second row of the pattern, and I'm going to do a bunch of backward knots basically until I get to the center. And then I'm going to show you something that is interesting. I don't know, it's interesting to me. I haven't seen this technique done before, but maybe everybody else knows about it but me. It's kind of fun to learn new techniques though. I think that's really the fun thing about bracelet making to me. I love the, you know, effect and how they aesthetically look, but it's also something about, I'm just counting my strings to see if I'm at the center yet. See, I have 11, so I want 5 and 5, and then the center one's gonna be, so I want 5 knots. Anyway, but I think like figuring out the techniques and learning new ones is the most fun for me. Like I always loved school because you're learning new things every day. And I don't know, I love crafts for that reason too. But I get like a little bored if I do the same thing. Okay. Anyway, aside from rambling, so now we have been tying onto these strings with this string, right? So we've done that for 1 row and a half. Now instead, normally in an alpha, you would take, if you wanted to make a string or a knot of a new color, you would take a new string and tie it into the bracelet. But in this case, I'm actually going to use the base string to make my new color. So I'm going to switch these so that the black is on top. And instead of, I was doing backward knots over this direction onto these, I'm going to do a forward knot onto this with the black onto the rainbow. So instead of going onto the bass string, I'm tying onto the leading string with my bass string. See that? So I made a black knot onto the rainbow, and then now I'm going to switch back to the rainbow and keep doing my backward knots onto the black. And you can see that made a knot of a different color to start my pattern. So I'm going to be doing just simple diamonds. I wanted to start with something really simple since I've, basically never done alphas before, and I mean hardly, and then, I didn't want to try anything too complex with a new technique. Plus I think this only really works with a 2-color pattern, or I guess it could work if, I think the example I saw was like a mushroom and it was on the side, so like the bass strings were all like red here and like white here, so you would, and then you had your background color, and then when you wanted to pull up the color for the mushroom, you could use the red for the cap and the white for the base, but so I did a backward forward here and a forward backward to start again, or no, sorry, backward forward again to start my next row because we're doing straight edges technique. Anyway, so I think it would work with, very simple patterns where the colors kind of all stay in their same lane, because you're only either using the string that you're knotting with or the string that's in the background to make your pattern. Whereas with a normal alpha, you can use any color you want because you just tie in the string wherever you need it. So this is definitely for very specific patterns, but it's kind of cool because you don't have to worry about adding in strings and having that, kind of mess on the back of your bracelet. Okay, so I've gotten to another part where I want to do another color besides the background color. So I'm gonna do that same thing where I pull up the bass string and start using it to knot onto my knotting string or whatever. I wish I knew what this string is called. I guess your leading string, I'm gonna call it that. No, I'm going to call it your background color. So you have your bass strings and your background color. So we're doing backward knots now because we were doing forward knots, and then we do a backward knot with the bass string onto your background color string to create the color change. So now we have black going onto the rainbow instead of the rainbow going onto the black again. And then that's making the pattern. So it's really, really basic. The only thing, like I said, it started to look bad when I had started a pattern that was more like triangles. And when I had the black that's, when your bass strings are being used at the edges of the pattern, it doesn't look so nice. So you just have to be careful. But if you want to make this pattern, it should work just fine because I'm doing diamonds and I'm leaving the rainbow as sort of like the color that gets used at the edge. So you never get that. It just made it look really bumpy and messy at the edges when the bass strings were being tied onto the background strings on the edges. But in the center of the bracelet, it looks perfectly neat and tidy. So I think it's fine to do that. All right, I'm gonna just keep going. I'm almost done with my third row of the pattern. And I'm doing a forward backward knot here because straight edges. Again, it's not absolutely necessary, but you do get a different look on the edge if you do just like forward knots and then backward knots, you'll have the little kind of loops. But this way you get more of a straighter edge. So forward, backward. And look how pretty this color ombre is on with the Threadworks. I think this is, what color is this? This might be the Wildflowers. I'm not sure, I have to look it up, but I definitely showed you the number, so you can look it up if you're finding it. They're sold kind of at weird places. I think Etsy has some, and then I got mine at a, I'll put it in the link. I think it was a cross-stitching kind of online store. Okay, so now we're doing the switch again. Bring the background string on top and then do a forward knot instead of a backward knot. Because you still want to carry your background string the same direction it was going. So to keep going that direction, you do a backward knot onto it rather than a forward knot onto it rather than a backward knot like we were doing. So now we're doing all forward knots onto the string so that it keeps going left, sort of through the knots, you know. So this is definitely kind of different technique. So you're using your warp threads basically in addition to using your weft. If you're a weaver, you'll know what that means. I actually went to school for weaving. It sounds kind of crazy, but I did a fiber arts degree and then I did a fashion design degree. So I actually did a lot of, you know, dyeing and weaving and surface design, sort of by hand, kind of like fine art version of like this kind of stuff, but you know, fine art. And then after that, I kind of just didn't know what to do to get a job, so I went to fashion school and got a degree in fashion design, and then did that for a few years, but found that I actually really still loved doing the art more. So then I transitioned into textile design for the fashion industry. All right, so we've got, see how my, I did 1 knot, 3 knots, and now 5 knots, so that's creating our diamond. Now I'm going back to using the background color string onto the base strings to create the background again with the rainbow. So this is just a very different way to do an alpha, at least for me, but I haven't done a lot of alphas anyway. I actually really love normal patterns so much that it's hard for me to like want to try an alpha, but then I just recently became a moderator on Bracelet book, and I had to pick alphas for a bracelet challenge because you do 5, well, at least for the weekly challenges, it's 5 alphas and 5 normals. And I had 0 alphas in my to-dos to, like, you know, because I had lots of normal ones to choose from for the challenge. But I didn't have any alphas because I just don't tend to do them. So then that actually was interesting for me to kind of try to pick ones that I thought other people would enjoy making, that I might enjoy making when I'm not usually an alpha maker. And now I'm kind of opening myself up to this whole new world of alphas. So that's kind of fun. All right, so I think you get the hang of it now. I'm doing the pattern, and I'm not sure how far out I want the diamond to come. I think maybe this will be the last one. Maybe I should do 2 knots of the background color all along the edge and just have the diamond become, I guess that would be 7 long, 1, 3, 5, 7, yeah. So that I keep a nice edge here. I don't know that I want my diamond to come all the way out to the edge or not, because then I get that weird kind of bumpiness. So this will be the middle of my diamond, I think. I could go 1 more row, because then I'd still have 1 more on the edge, I guess. Let me try it. Let me see what happens if I go 1 knot from the edge, and maybe it'll look terrible and I'll have to undo that row, and then we can just make this row the center of the diamond. But I don't want my diamond to be too tiny. either. But then if I make it too big, it might be boring because it's all black and it doesn't have any kind of pattern to it. This is the stuff I think about when I'm making bracelets. I don't know. Like when I'm trying to figure out what would look best and what, like aesthetically and like logistically. I don't know. All right, well, we don't have to think about it just yet. We're still making this row. So, I guess this kind of turned into a knot with me, not really a tutorial, because a tutorial, you know what you're doing and you're just showing people what to do. And a knot with me, it's more like you just kind of chat and do your thing. So we are chatting and I am doing my thing. And I wonder if you're bracelet making right now too. Are you knotting? Are you making an alpha? Or you're trying to figure out this technique? Or are you just doing something else? Sometimes I just throw on bracelet making videos in the background because they're kind of just relaxing. And I might be doing work or chores or something. So now I'm doing my forward backward knot at the edge. So now I have to decide if I want my diamond to come back in or if I want to go one more. I think I'm good. I think I want to, I don't need it to be any wider. So I want to start going more background and less of the black to make my diamond come back in and make the point. So I will do 3 knots here instead of 2, I think, right? Because I'm kind of ascending and descending by 1 knot per row to make my diamond. So this is very different from normal pattern because in normal pattern, each knot in the next row is offset. Whereas these ones are kind of more like a square grid, kind of like pixel art. So it's a little different for my brain to kind of think about and to do. I think this might work better if I kind of, instead of trying to tie it like I would normally, like this, you know, for a normal bracelet, I think I need to bring my bracelet across, like, because I'm basically knotting onto it across, so that would make it a little tighter and nicer when I make my knots, because that's essentially what I'm trying to achieve here. Trying to knot with these onto this, not across the way a normal bracelet would be. So I need to kind of pull up my thread to be horizontal because it's the weft and this is the warp, which is vertical. So that's a little trick to keep, because I noticed my knots were kind of like coming down a little bit and I don't want that. I want them to be nice and tight and I want this to look really neat and tidy. I'm like sort of a perfectionist. You might not know because my videos aren't the best because I'm just using my phone and I don't have like a professional mic and I don't have professional lighting. I'm actually using window light right now, but I am a perfectionist, so it does bother me that it's not like super perfect. But right now, like, you know, I'm not monetized or anything. And this is just a hobby, so I can't put a lot of money and effort into it yet, but maybe eventually I'll get better equipment and then my videos will be better. But I hope the content at least is useful and, you know, people enjoy it, even if it's kind of done on a budget and kind of not the best quality, but you know, I feel like that's what YouTube was kind of for. Oh shoot, I think I only did a single knot there. It looks a little, oh well, but that's what I think YouTube's for. It's like, you know, it was supposed to be for the people, by the people. Now it's very produced, but I kind of like started watching it when it was, you know, just people kind of with their phone or their, you know, really bad camera. Yeah, I think that little knot, oh, that bothers me so much. I think I did 1 knot instead of the double. You know how every knot's supposed to be 2 knots. I don't know that you can totally tell, and this is, you know, I'm learning, so it's fine. But, you know, I'll know it's there, and that's gonna bother me because, like I said, I'm a perfectionist. But, you know, that's life. It's not perfect. All right, so we're getting there. So Sorry, my voice gets a little scratchy when I've been talking for a long time. I hope that's not too bad on the sound quality. So now we do 4 knots, and then we do switch over to this. So it gets kind of meditative after a while when you're doing a really simple pattern, because it's kind of easy. You don't even have to think about it. You don't have to look at the pattern. Like, I mean, I didn't even have a pattern for this. I started with the triangles pattern, and then it wasn't working, so then I decided to do this diamond pattern instead, just to kind of try out the technique. But that's what I kind of do like about a simpler pattern, because it, you know, your brain can just kind of not worry about it. I do like more complex patterns, how they look, but they're just a little bit stressful to make. So now I'm switching back to the background color, because I see that it needs to come in one here. You can I like patterns like that, where you can kind of just look at it and know what the next step is. Whereas, you know, the more complex ones, you kind of have to know exactly what row you're on, and how far over you are in the pattern, and exactly like what, you know, I don't know. They both have their merits, I would say, but I like the more relaxing ones personally to make. But sometimes the more complex ones are nicer to look at. So yeah, this is coming together. I mean, I definitely could have made this pattern with a normal bracelet, you know what I mean? Because it's just a diamond with a background color, so I could have made that. But I'm learning a new technique, so I'm sure, you know, now that I know this, I can make patterns that would be impossible or difficult to make with a normal pattern structure. But, you know, I'm just learning this, so it's okay to do something a little simpler, or something that could have been done probably better with a normal technique, since diamonds really lend themselves to a normal bracelet pattern structure, because they make diagonal rows basically instead of across. So this would be cool for maybe like things that aren't as easy to make, for, like, you know, if you're doing like a checkerboard, that might lend itself to it, because you can't really make squares. Also, vertical lines are really difficult with a normal pattern, and easier with, and it actually would be better to do this technique than a normal alpha for vertical lines, because if you don't knot them just so, like with the flat alpha technique, then you'll have kind of vertical holes in your bracelet. So if you use this technique, which is kind of similar to the flat alpha technique, then you won't have any vertical line issues. You know what I mean? Any holes that go vertically if you use vertical lines. But anyway, like I was saying, normal patterns do mostly diagonal stuff, so maybe I should have picked a pattern that was like not diagonal like this is, to do my alpha, since it lends itself to more vertical, like kind of squared off things. But that's okay, we're learning. So look at that, I can't believe that. That's like a whole yard of this color, and it's already almost gone in like less than an inch of knotting. So funny to me. Oh, all right, so shall we do, yes, let's do one solid across row without any of the black, to separate our diamonds and just kind of show it how it, so it kind of has like a distinct pattern. You could just do like in and out and keep going with the black and have them connected, but I'm gonna try having them not connected. I hope you like this video. I don't know, it's very different from my other ones where I'm very like concise, and now I'm just kind of like knotting and rambling. I'm gonna have to show you how to knot or add in thread in a second, because I'm running out. And pretty soon. And I might want to make sure my next color starts with the same color of the ombre. Let's see. I think that would be, oops. Oh, here's my thread. So if I start here, it'll go back to yellow. If I start here, it's green. I don't know which side to use. I guess maybe start here. They both go back to yellow. I guess that's more accurate because that's the peach. Right, so I don't think I want to add it just yet. So actually better. It's getting pretty short and hard to knot with. So, when I do it with a normal pattern, I kind of like add it in and then knot for a few rows, but I'm kind of running short. I could just tie it right in there. See, this is the stuff that like kind of like makes my brain wonder what to do. I guess I'll put it over here and then go over it once, and then when I come back, I'll switch it out. So let me tape that down a little bit. So there you go. So it's there for when I start going over it, and then when I come back. I don't know if I'll have enough thread though, so we'll see if I can get over there before I need to knot it in. Probably should have done this sooner. Should I do it here? Maybe one more. Gosh, I don't know. I think I might just have to switch it out without knotting over the ends. I like to knot over the ends just so I know that the thread is secure and it's not gonna come out later. But this is getting really, really short. All right, I'm gonna add it in here on this knot. So I'm knotting over both colors. So you won't really see it because it's knotted in. But now I think I gotta just switch it because it's getting too short. I would like to come over and then come back, knot over it again, and then switch it, but that's okay. I don't think I can. So I'm gonna just go straight in and knot with it onto the next, I guess. Let's see how that goes. I've not done this on an alpha yet. I've done it on normal bracelets, so I might be telling you the wrong thing. Oh gosh, I don't know. It looks kind of weird. So I don't think that's the way to do it. Maybe I have to hide the tail on the next row. I don't think I can hide it above itself. It looks weird. So I'm gonna take it out. Sorry guys, it's probably really fun to watch. Come out. All right, so just basically gonna pretend I just started my thread there. All right, so I don't like how this is sticking up. Maybe I should do a forward backward knot there so that it sticks down or backwards. Let's see. Maybe it's because I tried to knot over the end. Let's try a backward knot. Nope, that looks terrible too. Okay. I'm gonna stop the video and come back, and then I'll fix this, and then I'll let you know what I did. I think maybe I gotta do the color switch technique, like a flat alpha. Maybe I should keep rolling just so you see that I mess up sometimes and I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, and that's okay. And it's probably not really fun to watch though, that's the only thing, because videos need to be entertaining. not just watching people untie stuff that they messed up, which is not fun for anybody. Okay, I'm gonna undo this whole thing. Let's see. All right, so when you're switching colors nicely in an alpha, like a flat alpha, let's do it that way. So to do that, you do first half of your knot, then you bring in your color, and then you knot over it again. And then you do first half of your color, but with the new string now. At least that's what I saw in a video recently. Then you bring your old color over and do your second half of your knot. Oh, that's much better. Look at that. That's great. It's hidden now. And then I can knot onto this and just like tie in, or I can even just clip it in the back later. I think I might tie over it just to, whoops. And then I messed it up by pulling the string too tight. There we go. And then I think I'm just gonna knot over this as if it was part of the bass string, just to make sure that little extra back piece is hidden. Gonna do another forward knot here. Look at that. Oops, you can't even see it. All right, and then forward, backward here. Day one. Do you love when that, like, something works out after you thought you were kind of hopeless? Forward, backward again. Let's see. I love that when things are kind of getting all messy and then you fix it and it's perfectly fine. Knot onto both again if I want, or I could probably just drop it out. You don't really have to knot on these very much because these knots are so tight. I like to clip things like flush though. I don't like to have little bits hanging out the back. So I like to tie over my ends a little bit just to have that hidden. So I might, let's see. Oh yeah, look at the back. There's no floating threads back there. So I might tie over this just to have it tied in. I don't know. Just so that it's not just hanging out and have to get cut straight. And then maybe unravel. I don't want that knot to unravel. Maybe I'm being overcautious. I don't know. Maybe it's unnecessary. All right, so we're almost to the part where we want to start making pattern again. Right now I've been just making ground color. Here's where I could kind of capture both my threads and knot over both to just kind of double make sure that tail's hidden in there. Ooh, sorry, this is really not clear because my tail is so short that I'm having to hold it kind of weird. But I'm just doing a normal backward knot, but just over both of those threads because I had one that I was tying in and then one that was my bass string. And then I have this little guy like trying to get in here. Oh, it's a mess. See, you can have a nice tidy bracelet, but in the process, it can look like kind of a mess until you kind of get past the messy part. All right, I'm gonna, oh no, one more knot and then I get to start my diamond. So that worked out kind of nice. So that was painful, but we got the new thread in here and I don't think you can really tell that that whole mess just happened. Can you? I don't know. So I'm gonna do another diamond. I might start kind of playing around with the pattern now because I could just do diamond, diamond, diamond the whole way down, but I think that'll be boring. So I might do like a smaller diamond and then maybe some lines and maybe some other stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll do like a line, line, line and into a diamond. I just need to play around. It would be cool if I had like a V shape of vertical lines, but I kind of already got past all that point. So maybe I should do like another element and then do like a V, kind of like a vertical, but like in a V shape. And then, I don't know, I'll figure it out. I was just playing around, trying to learn the technique. And of course, like now I'm all trying to change the pattern already because that's the way my brain works. I want to like make it look interesting. Sometimes it's okay to be really basic. Sometimes I get ahead of myself and want things to be more complex. So I could just do like a big diamond, a little diamond the whole time. I could do these same diamonds the whole way down. I could do, like I said, some vertical line elements. I don't know, we'll see. How about I let you go here because you've suffered through enough of my not with me so far and the, you know, my little trials and tribulations so far of learning this technique, but I think you can see that, I mean, it's working. The only issue I really had was getting the new thread in there, which isn't even part of this technique. So I'll keep going for a little while and then kind of come back and show you whatever I made. But you can see that we've got, you know, our alpha with the color change going on and 0 strings hanging out in the back. You do get this like interesting, more like vertical versus horizontal, like here's vertical, normal, and then here's horizontal. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting, but you know, I think it looks cleaner than having a bunch of threads crisscrossing in the back when we change color. So I don't know, that's kind of interesting technique. Now you know how to do it. Now I know how to do it. I learned with you on screen right now. So I'm gonna keep going and then I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so it's the next day and my bracelet is finished. So you can see that instead of just continuing to repeat the diamonds, I ended up doing sort of a little like Aztec style pattern. And I just kind of made it up myself. I'll give you the pattern, I'll create it in Bracelet Book and then give you the link in the description. And I'll post the, it might not be ready, approved by the time I do this video, so I'll just insert it here so you can see it if you want to screenshot it. Anyway, so I think it turned out really well. I love the way the color shifting thread looks in the background. I love the contrast with the black for the pattern. I had a lot of fun making this and I was trying to figure out what it was called. And I asked some of my more experienced bracelet friends and they said that it's called the two-tone alpha, and it's actually the original way alphas were made before people learned to start adding in different color strings and make the pattern that way. This was actually how they were done kind of originally. So I thought it was a new technique. It's actually an old technique, but I think it's a really nice one and it's a good one to know. Here's the back if you're curious. I know people like to see the backs. So the only thread that I had coming out the back was when I had to switch out for more thread going across because I would run out every so often. But, you know, like with normal or with the alphas that I've seen, there's usually threads going across the pattern, like floating threads, but with this technique there is not. So I really like that. And then the only thing with this technique though is to get a nice clean edge like this, I was finding that the design has to stop at least 1 knot short of the edge, so that you're not using your background or your bass strings as the design element. At least you have to kind of keep the background thread, at least that edge finish there. Because when you go all the way to the edge with the bass string design, then it gets a little bumpy and kind of, it doesn't look the best. So that's the only drawback. And then of course, you know, you can only really use 2 colors, although I would like to try the the bass strings. I would like to try having the bass strings be sort of an ombre or a rainbow, you know, so it'd go kind of vertically, and then have the background thread just be a single color. So I want to try that next, and when I do that, I'll show you how I did the finishing, because with the black thread, it doesn't really show up on video that well. So, I mean, all I really did was kind of take the bass strings and tie them into a point as if I was the same way I would knot like a normal pattern. And then I did a normal triangle end, but you can't really see the black. So I'll do that on the next video, or the next time I do this kind of bracelet. I'll show you that finishing technique along with how I make the bracelet. So thanks for joining me, and thanks for, you know, it's a little bit of a different style video, so I hope you enjoyed it. And it's a little bit kind of like a partial tutorial, partial not with me. And I hope you get inspired and make some more beautiful items. And if you make anything, share them on Instagram and tag me if you use this technique. I would love to see it. All right, happy crafting.